Good morning. So this morning I want to focus on something that we started yesterday, kind of going through Proverbs, but this morning chapter 4. Now, chapter 4, of course, is a strong encouragement for a father to encourage his son in the way of wisdom. So I'm going to start reading in verse 18. Proverbs 4:18. But the path of the just is like the shining sun that shines ever brighter unto the perfect day. The way of the wicked is like darkness. They do not know what makes them stumble. My son, give attention to my words. Incline your ear to my sayings. Do not let them depart from your eyes. Keep them in the midst of your heart. For they are life to those who find them, and health to all their flesh. Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it spring the issues of life. That's the verse we want to focus on this morning. Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it spring the issues of life. Heart work is hard work. Heart work is deep inner work. Heart work focuses on the soul of a man or a woman. Heart work goes inside. It deals with motives. It deals with aspirations. It deals with goals. It deals with one's self-concept. It deals with one's concept of others. Heart work is a daily, ongoing, never-ending, until we meet Jesus face-to-face process. Heart work is hard work. Yet heart work is necessary work, because out of the heart springs the issues of life. Everything that I am within becomes what I am without. My life is lived on the basis of what I am on the inside, the real me. And if my heart is right, as Jesus put it, if my eye is single, the whole body will be filled with light. It's a very important thing to deal with the heart. When Jesus gave the Sermon on the Mount to his disciples in Matthew chapter 5 through 7, and he started with the Beatitudes, he was starting with matters of the heart. Blessed are the poor in spirit, he said, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted, and so on. These are dealing with matters of the heart. All of the Beatitudes were. And it was from that that Jesus said, you are the salt of the earth and you are the light of the world. Those who deal with the matters of the heart are part of that which God describes as being the salt of the earth. Those who deal with the matters of the heart are those whom God describes as being the light of the world. The heart is where we deal with the sinful life. The heart is where we reconcile the flesh that is lusting against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, Galatians 5:16. The heart is where we begin to make confession of sin from. We admit what's there. We admit what we've done. We admit what we've thought. And we give it to God in confession, and he cleanses us from all unrighteousness. Yeah, the heart's important. Character matters. And when God describes the calling and the office of an overseer, a bishop, an elder, a pastor within the Church of Jesus Christ, he emphasizes character far more than he emphasizes their spiritual gifting, far more than he emphasizes anything like charisma, personal charisma especially. He doesn't even talk about that, because he's interested in what he can do in a man and then through a man. And if it starts in the heart, then it's healthy work. And so God decides that those should be selected, those should be appointed, those should be ordained into those areas of ministry who are men of character, men who have worked on the hard work of the heart and have allowed their heart to be given proper consideration. That's what the verse tells us. Keep your heart with all diligence. It's diligent work. Diligence is putting one's hand to the plow and not letting go until the work is done. Diligence is sorting out all the aspects of a matter and doing it thoroughly. Building a wall requires diligence because you have to do your measurements properly. You have to cut the boards properly. You have to line up the boards properly. You have to make sure that they're plumb. You have to make sure that they're level. All of these things requires a tremendous amount of diligence just to build a wall that can support the roof truss, that can support the entire structure. It takes diligence to build a wall. It takes diligence to build a heart and to deal with a heart. Heart work is hard work, but it's not exasperating work, and it's not work that is something that penalizes us. It's not work that is such a drag that we never want to do it again. It's an extremely rewarding work because, as Jesus said, the poor in spirit, they possess the kingdom of heaven. Those who mourn, they shall be comforted. Those who hunger and thirst after righteousness, they shall be satisfied. Those who are even persecuted for righteousness' sake, theirs is the kingdom of heaven. These are all matters of the heart, of course, but they have great reward. The peace that comes into a heart, having dealt with that heart, is an irreplaceable and an invaluable thing to possess. And it's all the result of obeying this one verse, keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it spring the issues of life. So keep your heart. One of the ways that we can keep our heart, this is a little trick of the trade, so to speak, that Jesus gave to us in Matthew chapter 5 in the Sermon on the Mount. Where actually chapter 6, I believe. Chapter 6 in the Sermon on the Mount, one of those chapters between chapters 5 and 7. Anyway, he's talking about treasures on earth versus treasures in heaven. It's Matthew 6. And he's saying, do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth where moth or rust corrupt or where thieves break through or steal, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven where neither moth nor rust corrupt, neither can thieves break through and steal. And then he said, for where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Interesting. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. If my treasure is for the things above, then my heart will follow. If my treasure is for the things below, here on earth, then my heart will follow. So my treasure has everything to do with the focus and direction of my heart. The biggest treasure, the greatest treasure that Jesus said was his own treasure in his life is recorded for us in John 17:3. He said, this is life eternal, as he's speaking to his Father in prayer. He says, this is life eternal, that men might know you, the only true God, in Jesus Christ, whom you have sent. That's eternal life. That was the treasure of Jesus. He said it in another way, different words, but same idea, putting his Father first, in the Gospel of John, where he said, my food is to do the will of him who sent me and to accomplish his work. That's my food. That's my treasure. That's what I'm aiming at. What's the aim of the believer? It's to know God, just like it was for Jesus. To know his Father, to love his Father, to relate to his Father, to receive from his Father, to receive commands from his Father, to do his Father's bidding. That was Jesus' food. That was his treasure. And of course, his heart followed. What's ours? Well, it's the same thing, to know God and to follow him and to know him well and to receive his word and to hear his voice and to do that which he has designed for us to do here on earth. That's a wonderful thing. But the big picture goal is even broader than that, so to speak. Not broader, but deeper and so all-encompassing. The Father's goal for us, Romans 8:29 tells us, is that we might be conformed into the image of his own Son. And so our treasure ought to be like Christ. Our treasure ought to be like Christ. This is my life's ambition. This is my life's goal. Oh yeah, I want to be a great ball player. Oh yes, I want to be very accomplished in my trade or in my profession. And those are good things. But the overarching goal, beyond that is to be like Christ, to reflect his nature, to live as he lived, and to be as he is. That's the overarching goal. And this is a lifelong process, of course. We'll never fully accomplish it. Not until we see him. 1 John chapter 3 says, when we see him, we will be like him, because then we will see him as he is. But until then, we're working at it. We're moving in that direction, hopefully inch by inch, and hopefully degree by degree. That's our treasure. So if that's my treasure, to be like Christ, if that's my treasure, to know God and to hear his voice and to do his bidding, if that's my treasure, where do you think my heart's going to fall in all that? The heart is going to follow. So it's not that difficult to understand. It's pretty simple to understand. Jesus has given us the understanding of how to keep this heart diligently. Make sure you have the right treasure. So those are some thoughts this morning from Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23. Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it spring the issues of life. May the Lord bless you.